You started talking to me, buddy.
Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is...
This is Devin Holmes. He is seconds away from a life-altering disaster, but doesn't know. Yuli Emanueli and Ivan Lester were others whose last few seconds before tragedy were caught on film. These are some of the cases we'll explore today, from unfortunate work events to accidents caused by individual complacency. These are the most disturbing videos recorded before disasters. Warriena Wright was born in the Philippines on May 20, 1988. While she was still a year old, her mother moved to Wellington, New Zealand, with Warriena and her sister. Warriena was an intelligent, beautiful, and fun-loving woman. After school, Warriena worked in the credit card division for a financial institution. She always wanted to travel to other places and had been setting aside some money from her salary. In 2019, when Warriena was 31, a friend invited Warriena to her wedding ceremony. It would take place on the Gold Coast, a city Warriena had always wanted to visit. Warriena jumped at the opportunity. It was an opportunity to celebrate with a friend and soak up some sun on the Gold Coast beaches. After the wedding, Warriena decided to stay back for a while and see what fun there is to be had. In the company of another friend, Warriena visited the beaches, bars, and parks. It was great fun, but she wanted more. So she installed the Tinder app and started swiping for matches. That was how she met a man called Gable Tosti. They chatted for a week before deciding to meet on August 7. They met on a busy street in the middle of the Gold Coast, hugged, and headed for a bar around 8:50 p.m. They left almost immediately, likely due to a change of plans, and bought some bottles of beer from a store. They traveled together to Gable's home to continue the fun. Unknown to Warriena, Gable was not what he seemed. While he appeared gentlemanly on the outside, it was all a deliberate attempt to cover up who he really was. Gable was born into a privileged family. He started drinking alcohol as a teenager, but often didn't know when to stop. His toxic relationship with alcohol eventually got him into trouble several times. At 18, Gable was arrested for counterfeiting banknotes and forging identity cards for underage teens. He only got a warning for his crimes. In 2011, he was arrested for driving under the influence. His driver's license was suspended for 10 months. And he was ordered to pay a fine. Again, he escaped jail time. A week before matching with Warriena on Tinder, Gable was arrested again. He was speeding and driving without license plates. He tried to evade arrest, but was eventually arrested and discovered to be intoxicated. He was allowed to leave after settling bail. Gable had other strange obsessions. He stalks women and has been banned from various locations for this behavior. That's not all. He kept a written record of the women he'd slept with. His apartment had cameras, which he used to record their activities. He also left his phone on record during these times. When Warriena arrived with Gable, they took the elevator to the 14th floor, where he lived. They started the night by drinking the beer they bought earlier. When they consumed everything, Gable brought out his homemade vodka, and the two soon became drunk. The drinking continued as they took selfies and had sex. Then, a misunderstanding happened between them. Gable's recordings caught the intoxicated Warriena arguing with him. She started throwing ornamental rocks at Gable.
I will destroy your jaw. It's not funny.
Which angered Gable. He threatened to knock her out and throw her off the balcony.
You're lucky I haven't chucked you off my balcony, you goddamn psycho little.
Then, Gable commanded her to stand up. He led her to the balcony and locked her there.
Come on, get up. Get up! Get up! Okay, get up. You don't understand, do you? You don't understand anything at all, do you? You don't understand. You don't understand, do you? You just don't understand. Let go.
The recordings captured a terrified Warriena.
Who the do you think you are?
No!
Hmm?
No! No! No!
You're trying to kill me, huh?
No!
Why'd you try to hit me with that?
No!
Huh?
No!
It was the very moment before disaster struck. Intoxicated and unable to decide the next line of action, Warriena climbed the railings in an attempt to escape to the floor below them. She slipped and fell to the ground from the 14th floor, dying instantly. The fall was so bad that authorities couldn't identify her until after a few days. This was Gable on his recording. After realizing what had happened, he attempted to speak with his lawyer, but could not connect. He took the elevator to the ground floor, but proceeded to the car park exit after seeing emergency services. He walked for a while, ate pizza, and called his dad, who arrived to pick him up later.
Hello, Dad? I might have a bit of a situation. You see, I met up with a girl for a date tonight, and she started getting really aggressive. Like, it was alright at first, and like, we, had sex in bed, and then after that, like, she kept drinking, and we were both drinking, and she, like, I think she thought it was like a joke or something, but she kept, like, beating me up and whatever.
Gable submitted himself to the police that same day, but refused to give any comment. He was charged after a week.
He was beaten while in prison, but was freed after 3 months when he met bail conditions. When the trial began, his recordings were able to prove that he wasn't with Warriena when she fell.
The jury found Gable innocent of murder and manslaughter. He was free to go. Gable changed his name to Eric Thomas and took advantage of the case. He made money off it after landing interviews with news sites. For Warriena's family and loved ones, it was the total opposite. They have lost a lovely individual and have failed to see the person who caused it get punished for her death. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you for a small favor. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. Our 100K special surprise was revealed, and we had many positive responses from you. Our next goal is to hit 200K before the year ends. It feels impossible, but hey, it's free to dream, right? Also, there's a hidden word somewhere in this video for you. Let's see if you can find it. Now, back to the video. Not too far ago, Uli Emanuele was one of the most successful wingsuit pilots in the world. He was born on October 23, 1986 in Bolzano, a city in the South Tyrol province of northern Italy. Not only is Uli's hometown sitting in a valley surrounded by hilly vineyards, but it is also an entrance to the Dolomites mountain range in the Italian Alps. It is no wonder that Uli embraced an outdoor lifestyle from an early age. Before he became renowned for daring base jumping feats from some of the highest cliffs, Uli had been participating in different mind-blowing activities. As a teenager, Uli constantly engaged in mountaineering and skiing. Soon he turned to the world of extreme sports when he began parachuting in the alpine terrains. Uli gained popularity after he ventured into base jumping. His remarkable leaps from cliffs, bridges, skyscrapers, and other tall structures helped him gather a large audience and respect from everyone in the community. In search of the next challenge, Uli made his way into wingsuit flying. Donning a wingsuit, he'd launch himself from tall structures and glide his way like a flying bird. With each jump came more popularity for Uli. By 2011, he was already one of the foremost names in the world of extreme sports. He was able to carve a name for himself at the very top. After demonstrating astute technical understanding, he was able to navigate the most difficult terrains and could easily conquer locations that were deemed impossible to pilot through with a wingsuit. In 2015, Uli cemented his iconic status after unlocking a remarkable achievement. He flew through an extremely narrow and tricky archway in the Dolomites mountain range. The path was only 2 meters wide, and he was the first to attempt to conquer it. Other wingsuit pilots called it the most technical base jump ever. The flight was captured on video in collaboration with GoPro, and that was important because many would not have believed it if it weren't recorded. It was an instant hit, further solidifying Uli's reputation as a master wingsuit pilot. Uli believed the most essential skill in wingsuit flying was to conquer fear. He believed there was no room for error, and this was why he prepared carefully for every flight. He took every tiny detail into account and planned meticulously for every possibility. On August 17, 2016, Uli was going to lay down another marker of his legendary status within the wingsuit community. He had identified the next terrain that needed conquering, and put everything in place to get it done. He chose the Lauterbrunnen village in Switzerland. The aim was to accomplish another extraordinary feat, a takeoff from the cliffs and navigation through the Swiss Alps in what would be another first for Uli. If Uli was attempting it, you knew it was not an easy feat. Like his former flights, this would require intense preparation before the day and maximum focus on the journey. This would raise the bar even higher, and he had again secured collaboration from GoPro. Before the day, word had spread far and wide, and everyone in the extreme sports world expected nothing less than another jaw-dropping performance. If anyone had the experience and technical mastery, it was Uli. On the day, excitement filled the air. Many anticipated the history-making moment as they gathered to celebrate with Uli. The Lauterbrunnen Valley is known for its challenging terrain. While breathtaking, the region poses many surprises. Inexperience is not forgiveness here, and any wrong calculation for even experienced base jumpers can be costly. That morning, Uli had uploaded an image of the region on social media with the caption "Ready to open a new jump." Uli was a pioneer who recognized his status. He was usually one of the few people who tried a new path. Without tips from people like Uli, less experienced jumpers couldn't try the more challenging flight paths. When the time finally came, he took a position on the cliff, ready to make history. All the preparations from the previous months had been building up for this very moment. They had checked the suit and calculated the path multiple times. As he stood on the edge, everyone held their breath, ready to witness a record-breaking moment and a pivotal point in the history of extreme sports. The countdown began, and Uli jumped at the end. He was on course to make history, and everything looked set from the start, but something was about to go wrong. Uli glided perfectly at the start. His custom-designed wingsuit shone as he steadied himself and picked up speed. He moved through the terrain with the mastery you can expect from someone like Uli. His technical skill was on show that day. It looked set to be another unforgettable moment in wingsuit flying, but it wouldn't be for the right reasons. Everyone watched excitedly, not knowing it was the exact moment before disaster. In a surprising and tragic turn of events, Uli's movement, which had been perfect until that moment, stuttered. He found himself suddenly off track, and a collision followed.
Forse sia cosa sarà 2 metri, 2 metri e mezzo, 2 metri 60, 70, non so.
Uli had a parachute for cases like this, but before he could reach it, he went against a cliff with a devastating impact that gave him no chance. Uli passed on from the unfortunate accident. The news spread quickly, and tributes poured in for a legend who devoted his life to conquering impossible challenges. The cause of the accident is unknown, but experts speculate that it could have been anything from a miscalculation to a sudden gust of air. Jack Colin Doherty is an American YouTuber and streamer who rose to fame performing pranks and stunts. Born October 8, 2003, in Long Island, New York, Jack is one of the most controversial streamers. While he gained popularity making videos where he flipped various objects, he has built a massive following on multiple websites. It remains to be seen how long he will remain on these platforms, considering his penchant for risky endeavors. Over the years, Jack has often found himself in the social media trends for the wrong reasons. If he's not hiding behind bodyguards after provoking strangers,
Get away from me.
You started talking to me, buddy.
Get away from me.
You get away from me. Watch your kids. Go walk away.
he's doing the strangest things with a golf cart or a car.
Oh.
He has always been one to raise eyebrows, and like every other person online, he has his audience. In October 2024, he live-streamed for the last time on Kick, when he crashed his $200,000 McLaren sports car. The live stream started like any normal one, but it wouldn't be a regular stream for Jack if he didn't do something crazy. He could be seen driving his custom-designed McLaren on a Miami highway. With him was a friend, Michael, who was also in charge of filming the streamer. While everyone on the stream could see that it was raining, Jack thought hitting the road in a sports car was a good idea. While the McLaren 570s is one of the finest road beasts, many would agree that it can be tricky to maneuver. It worsens when you have to do so on a wet, slippery road.
Guys, you can't see it, but I'm so cooked. I should not have drove. Literally, guys, you can't see shit. I'm most likely going to crash this car. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully not.
But if there's one person in the world who would disregard all of this, it probably is Jack. To make things worse, he wasn't driving cautiously with the wet road in mind. Instead, he was going quite fast, possibly above the safe speed limit, despite stating that he couldn't see the road clearly. A brief glimpse of the dashboard showed that the car was traveling at 71 mph, but all these didn't look like enough risk for Jack, so he takes it up a notch. While driving, the streamer brought out his phone and started texting. Clips from the stream showed him sharing concentration between the road and his phone. He was distracted and couldn't have prepared for what would come next. He even mentioned the possibility of crashing at one point on the stream, telling you that he probably knew he was driving recklessly. What followed was disaster. Likely after the tires hit a patch of water, the car skidded uncontrollably from the road until it crashed into a metal barrier on the side of the road. The live stream became frantic, as people hoped that Jack and his friend were okay. The dust started settling, and the streamer emerged, but they were trapped inside the car. It took the help of passers-by to get him and Michael out of the car. The car, especially the front part, had been completely wrecked. You couldn't say it was the same car, if not for the poor custom painting on the outside. It was a miracle anyone escaped the vehicle with minor injuries. Despite that, the streamer was strangely more concerned about filming himself. Even as strangers helped him, he held the camera firmly in one hand and stayed in frame. Sure, he had almost lost his life or killed a friend, but who cares? The stream was the most important thing for Jack, and it had to go on.
Help! Oh, can you hold this? No, my car, bro.
Vamos, baby. Vamos, sal. ¿Qué tal?
Fortunately, Jack had escaped the accident without any visible injuries. But the same luck didn't extend to his friend. Michael suffered a wound close to his eye. He was taken to the hospital so he could get stitches, while Jack was also examined to ensure there weren't any internal injuries. While they were still at the scene, Jack continued to display the same behavior that had led to the accident. Remember how he had caused the accident due to his lack of respect for traffic rules? He didn't seem to recognize the gravity of what had happened. Not only did he refuse to acknowledge his poor decision-making, but he also showed how little he cared for the person riding with him. He repeatedly lamented losing the car, showing a complete disregard for Michael.
My car! Holy shit, no! Are you kidding me, bro?
But that wasn't even the most shocking thing that followed the crash. He ensured the crew continued filming the scene for content, and held a camera to do the same. Then, he handed the filming device to Michael, who was visibly injured and possibly concussed. Videos of the incident were posted on X and YouTube. with many taking to the comment sections to share their concerns over Jack's role in the accident and how he acted after it.
Michael, here. Michael, do you have film on that phone too? No. Wait, let him have that. Let him have that. Let him have that. And then McKinley, can you just? I think just do this. Okay, keep going here.
Many called out the young streamer, with some asking authorities to revoke driver's license and ban him on multiple platforms. They didn't have to wait for long though. Kick cut the stream after the accident and suspended Jack's account. They also shared an official reaction, saying that the platform does not condone illegal activity. They added that they swiftly took action and moved to ban this creator from the platform. According to Kick's community guidelines, users must prioritize your safety and the safety of those around you by avoiding dangerous behavior. Prioritize safety for yourself, your audience, the public, and anyone else involved. If someone is in danger or needs help, turn your camera away and contact local EMS immediately. Despite being one of the biggest creators on Kick, they have upheld the ban. But of course, Jack has gotten into more trouble after that. On a spring evening in 2018, what began as a casual hangout and live stream on social media ended in unimaginable tragedy. A few of their friends gathered to watch the stream, but viewers didn't know they were about to witness a scene that would haunt them for a long time. Devin was a Houston, Texas man. Growing up, he lived in the Beaumont and Lamarck communities, graduating from Lamarck High School and being a member of the National Honor Society. After high school, Devin studied at Lamar University and Texas Southern University, but what he studied is unclear. After school, Devin worked as a corrections guard with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Relatives described him as a mentally strong individual who would usually accomplish any task he put his mind to. He had a great sense of humor and was someone who valued family. On April 1, 2018, 27-year-old Devin Holmes was in a car with two other individuals in Houston, Texas. They were outside a Valero gas station in southwest Houston. Devin was sitting in the front passenger seat. The group had been drinking and streaming their activities on Facebook Live. Authorities later confirmed that they were also playing with two firearms. During the live stream, one of the individuals in the car, Cassandra Damper, was handling a loaded handgun. Cassandra was in the driver's seat, while the third friend joined the conversation from the back seat. The footage shows the weapon being waved around inside the vehicle in a reckless manner. Devin, who didn't like the idea, warned Cassandra and expressed his concern. But the casual handling of the firearm continued. At one point during the stream, when Cassandra brought the gun close to Devin, he used his hand to gently push it away from himself as the exchanges continued among the three. It was the exact moment before disaster. In a split second that would change everything, Cassandra pointed the gun towards Devin and pulled the trigger. Devin Holmes was shot in the head at point-blank range.
Clip, bud. Hey, where you from again?
Say so,
bitch. Oh my God.
The Facebook live stream captured the exact moment and the immediate aftermath. What followed was panic, screams, and the desperate attempts to help Holmes as the severity of what had just occurred became apparent. The vibrant young man who had been laughing and talking just moments before was now fighting for his life. While the shooting was initially described as accidental, Cassandra's actions following the incident were a subject of widespread discussion, which eventually came to the fore during court proceedings. Emergency services arrived to help Holmes, who was in critical condition, to the hospital. The gunshot wound to his head was catastrophic, and the doctors knew that they had their work cut out for them. While this was going on, Cassandra was busy trying to cover her tracks so she wouldn't get blamed for what had happened. She reportedly called 911 to report the incident, but rather than narrate what went down, she told the authorities that Devin pulled the trigger himself in a desperate attempt to elude the law. She also tried to eliminate her prints from the gun and wash off gunpowder residue from her hands. However, the video of the shooting showed investigators that she was handling the firearm when it went off. The video went viral, circulating across social media platforms despite efforts to remove it. Thousands watched the horrific moment, sparking widespread debate about gun safety, social media culture, and personal responsibility. Devin was critically wounded, placed on life support, and underwent extensive medical care and rehabilitation. Thankfully, he survived the incident. but he was left paralyzed and with severe brain damage. The once active young man became quadriplegic, unable to move his limbs and requiring around-the-clock care. Holmes has had to relearn basic functions and adapt to a new reality defined by his limitations. The cognitive effects of the brain injury added another layer of difficulty to his recovery. Despite these overwhelming challenges, Holmes has shown remarkable resilience. In interviews conducted after the shooting, he has spoken about his experience, his ongoing recovery, and his perspective on what happened.
The morning, he was thinking about committing suicide. Hey man, that's the easy way out. That's not what's up. That's the easy way out.
His story has served as a powerful cautionary tale about gun safety. Cassandra Damper was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, with reckless serious bodily injury, and tampering with evidence. Initially, she claimed the shooting was accidental, but investigators discovered that she had tampered with evidence before police arrived. In August 2019, Cassandra Damper pleaded guilty to the charges. She was later sentenced to 10 years for the aggravated assault count, and 5 years for tampering with evidence, to be served concurrently. However, 6 months into her sentence, reports emerged that she might be eligible for early release or probation, allowing her to finish part of her sentence outside prison. A judge later granted the probation. The terms include visits with a community supervisor, drug and alcohol testing, travel restrictions, and 10,000 hours of community service. The judge also ordered $50,000 in restitution be paid to Holmes. Holmes has said he has no memory of the shooting or the early days in the hospital. He has publicly spoken about the experience, sometimes with humor and resilience. Ivan Lester McGuire was a 35-year-old veteran skydiver from Durham, North Carolina. On April 2, 1988, he was filming a jump by an instructor and student from the Franklin County Sports Parachute Center in Lewisburg, North Carolina, when disaster struck. Ivan was an experienced skydiver who had already racked up over 800 dives. He was a courageous individual who was always ready to make a jump. While others cowered at the thought, Ivan relished the challenge as high as 10,000 feet. He had become one of the most respected skydivers, and would usually get invites to partake in notable projects. This was a time when skydiving was gaining popularity. Ivan was among the few brave people who embraced it as a hobby. He participated in various skydiving activities, becoming one of the first names that came to mind when thinking about 1980s skydiving. In April 1988, the North Carolina Institute reached out to him to help them film instructional videos for skydiving safety. They were supposed to jump from 10,000 feet, with Ivan manning the video camera and filming the pair as they demonstrated how to safely launch a parachute and land. It was nothing new to Ivan, as he had skydived more than he cared to count. He had also been known to film jumps. To him, it was like another typical day in the office. However, this was 1988. The video cameras at the time were large and consisted of 2 bulky parts. This meant that Ivan needed a backpack to carry the complete set. They had already filmed 2 takes and were going for the third one. Ivan went over the key details with the instructor for the last time. They agreed on the sequence of events and were ready for the next shot. The plane flew until it reached the appropriate altitude. Then, Ivan got ready to fly out of the plane. He picked up the backpack, ready to make the jungle and waiting for the cue. Ivan and the other people on the plane had not noticed a key detail. The only thing on Ivan's mind at this time was the jump. He was eager to do it just like he had been for each of the over 800 jumps he had made in the past. The others fixated their eyes on the instructor, his student, and Ivan. With all 3 already carrying their parachute backpack, nothing could go wrong. But that's not the case. Everything was about to go terribly wrong. The 2 people in the instructional videos made the jump. So did Ivan, their cameraman. He started filming while in the air. When it was time to deploy the chute, the instructor and student did so and waited for Ivan to do the same. Ivan tried reaching for the ripcord, but he couldn't find it, and that was when it sank in. On his back was the video camera backpack. He had forgotten to take a parachute before diving from the plane. The others waited for the chute to come alive, but Ivan continued in a free fall. The video camera showed his point of view during the fall. It was the very last video before the tragic end of a remarkable man. Ivan continued falling at 150 miles per hour, which went on for close to a minute until he landed 1.5 miles from the takeoff spot. The camera and footage, which remained intact after the fall, captured his last words, "Oh my God, no." It was a massive loss for the skydiving community, and many attempted to make sense of what had led to the unfortunate accident. One of the leading theories was that, if you had jumped as many times as Ivan, there was bound to be some level of complacency at some point. Others were quick to point to the video camera backpack. They said it confused Ivan and made him think he had his parachute. Some crew members revealed he didn't seem focused entirely on the day. They pointed out that he was working extra hours and may have been fatigued. He reportedly worked through the night before at a manufacturing company. Then, he stayed around at the skydiving club for 2.5 more hours. These would have made him more tired, and probably caused him to lose focus during the filming. There were suggestions that the fall may have been self-inflicted, but it was quickly ruled out because Ivan was not believed to be struggling with his mental health. But could it have been foul play by the pilot or the crew with Ivan that day? The pilot, Mark Luman, was questioned about the incident. That's because, according to an FAA inspector, Walter Rigsby, there is a regulation, NOMAR 105, that states that the pilot must ensure that everyone has their parachute before they jump. However, the conclusion was that Ivan forgot his parachute, and his death was deemed accidental. May 24, 2001 was supposed to be one of the happiest days ever for Karen and Asaf Dror. The two lovebirds had invited 700 family members and friends for their celebration of love. The venue was the third floor of the prestigious Versailles Wedding Hall in Talpiot, southeastern Jerusalem. Built in 1986, Versailles Wedding Hall has hosted numerous joyous events for over 1.5 decades. It was built by engineer Eli Ron, using the Palcal concrete ceiling method, which he invented in the 1970s. The invention used thin layers of cement with metal plates. It helped construct many buildings in a relatively shorter time, using a smaller budget by eliminating the need for steel reinforcement. This was crucial to helping Israel meet the nation's needs as it grew rapidly after its formation. While the Palcal method was celebrated in the construction industry, it had been noted to present specific issues that can lead to devastating outcomes. The Palcal technique saved you money but left no room for cutting corners. Sadly, the latter was precisely what the owners of Versailles Hall wanted. They were constantly looking for ways to get more from the hall, without the right level of enforcement. The hall's original design consisted of 2 parts, one with 3 floors and another with 4. The 3-floor part was already built with a roof when the owners modified the design. They wanted that part to add another floor like the other part. This meant that the roof would be converted into another floor. Thanks to the Palcal technique, they could achieve this easily without considering the dangers. The converted roof would look like the other floors after construction, but the original design had not made provision for it to have the same strength as the original floors. Simply put, the new floor was a poor version of the old ones. After a while, the floors could no longer bear the load it was carrying. They started to sag visibly, and the owners knew they had to do something. They called in the engineers, who advised using partitions on the lower floors. This would correct the sagging and strengthen the building by connecting the various parts. It worked. Versailles Wedding Hall was back to normal, and business returned. However, the partitions came with a trade-off. Since they occupied space, the capacity of the halls was reduced, and they didn't allow for an open arrangement during events. The partitions also reduced the aesthetics of the building. The owners considered all the options and decided to remove the partitions. The partitions had been there for 15 years, but strangely, it had somehow escaped them that they were holding the building together and keeping it from sagging again or even falling. They dismissed them as decorative and proceeded with plans to remove them. The floor sagged again, but rather than returning the partitions, they poured fillers to level them, further straining the floors. This was a few weeks before Karen and Asaf Dror's wedding. On the evening of the wedding, the 700 guests swarmed the hall in celebration of the new couple. The dinner tables stood close to the walls, and the center space served as the dance floor. By 10:30 p.m., everything was going to plan. Guests enjoyed their meals as others took to the dance floor. Congratulations were going round, and everyone had smiles on their faces. The event was captured on a camcorder by professional cameraman David Amroman. This would remain in the memory of those present for a long time. While this was true, they had no idea it would be for a completely different reason. Around 10:40 p.m., more people had joined the dancing guests, which was taking a toll on the floor, unknown to anyone. Suddenly, the floor gave way, taking along over 400 guests as it crashed onto the floor underneath. The weight of the floor and those on it, as well as the distance it was coming from, meant the impact would be too strong for the next floor. So, that floor collapsed too, tearing into the next floor with everyone and everything, until they all arrived on the ground floor. Some lucky guests who were closer to the walls and pillars were the only ones spared from the devastating fall. Emergency services got several calls a minute after the fall, and the response was swift, arriving 2 minutes later. The ambulance vehicles transferred over 300 people to various hospitals, but many others could not be located. The Israeli military provided support in the form of vehicles and equipment. Rescuers worked tirelessly to evacuate the rubble and search for more survivors, and it went on for more than 2 days. Sadly, 23 people died in the accident, with 360 injured. Among them was the bride, Karen Dror, who suffered pelvic injuries and required multiple surgeries to save her life. The groom, Asaf, suffered only minor injuries and was okay afterward. However, he lost his 80-year-old grandfather to the collapse. 130 other people remained in the hospitals for days. The tragic incident was one of the deadliest in the nation's history, ranking third in terms of casualties. The Palcal method was banned, and the engineer, Eli Ron, was imprisoned for 4 years. The 2 other engineers got 22-month sentences. 2 of the owners received 30 months jail terms, while the third was commanded to perform 4 months of community service. With that sad case, we've come to the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed every bit of the video. If so, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. We have videos like this lined up for you almost every day, and you don't want to miss out. More videos will appear on screen in the next second. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now, and I'll see you there. I'm out.